And this is why you wait to see all the movies before you make your top 10 best or worst list, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, 3 good movies in a row. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. Kind of ironic given the fact there was a Spider-Man movie. Aquaman, a DCEU movie, was freaking good. Bumblebee, the best Transformers film I've seen since the freaking original. All of these films, 2 of them had no right being good for what they were, given where they came from. But guess what? They were actually really freaking good. And now we get Homies! If you're wondering why I'm a bit mad, it's not the fact that I'm a Sherlock Holmes fan and they proceeded to, how can I put this bluntly, shit all over the original. It's not that I, haven't seen other incarnations of Sherlock Holmes that I've enjoyed over the years. Like I've seen the original, I've read the books, I've seen some of the cartoons, I've seen Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century, a bit more grandeur than this thing. I've seen Sherlock Hound, a Studio Ghibli cartoon where everybody's basically an anthropomorphic dog. And yet somehow that's more realistic than this thing. Robert Downey Jr. Seriously. All of these films. And before someone says, oh, it's parody. It's just meant to be a joke. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Yeah. When you use previously established canon, yes, it is. I apologize for anyone who's trying to silently listen to this while working. I'm sorry to anyone who has to listen to me rage. But move over, freaking Mr. Salza. There's a current runner for number 2 on the worst list of 2018. Seriously, this film is the literal definition of garbage. And it's not just the fact that it's not funny, because I sat there for 2 hours. 2 hours, I didn't laugh at all. I didn't even crack a smile. All I did was sink lower and lower into my seat going, please God, will this movie end? And guess what? When you think it's gonna end, when you think it's getting near the wrap-up point, oh no, that's just the first hour. You got another hour to go! And then, that's not just it. It's not the fact that it's not funny. It's not the fact that it's, just trying to, be, I don't know what the hell it wants to be. It's, 6% Rotten Tomatoes. I read those 2 reviews I gave them positive, and their exact words are the following. Number 1, well, that's nice if you just turn your brain off and you don't care about it. I give it a 7 out of 10, or a 3.5 out of 5. Congrats! That means I can beat you in the head over and over again until you can't think anymore, and you'll get that a positive review. Listen, mindless garbage can be enjoyable if it's presented in the appropriate case, and it's actually not trying to be harmful or anything spiteful. Oh, we'll get to the spitefulness in a second. But literally, that's not a good reason. Oh, and the other one? Well, if you want to see Will Ferrell off his chain for the first time in a long time, this is definitely it. Hey, you notice this movie called Step Brothers? I didn't like that movie. Some people like that movie. You know what? At least in that, they were pretending to be man babies who have no cognitive thoughts. And this film, oh, you think they're trying to have some actual coherency. You think there's a plot. Man, are you wrong. The characters. The premise of Sherlock Holmes is he has no emotion. Therefore, he's the smartest man on the planet. Really? That's what you're gonna go with? Really? Oh my, he's just, yay, fresh air. But literally, that film is horrible. Cause he's all, oh, I have no emotion. I clearly can just think logically. Even though when you're acting all grandeur, trying to be, prove yourself superior, guess what? If you have no emotion, you have no emotion. You don't know the concept of trying to get praise, of adulation. And that's kind of been Sherlock Holmes' case for the longest time. Regardless of what incarnation you see, he's actually a smart and well-developed man. Yes, he has some emotions from time to time, but for the most part, he's pretty much demure and he thinks logically and tries to keep himself separate. Except when it comes to a couple of people, like Inspector Lestrade, which, except for the Robert Downey Jr. side, he's actually, showing a bit of respect and actual, understands what's going on, actually works with Scotland Yard, but who cares about that? Or how about Mrs. Hudson? Oh, spoiler alert, she's the daughter of Moriarty. Yeah, old Mrs. Hudson, the housekeeper, is now apparently younger than them, and apparently is Moriarty's daughter, and it's this whole grand reveal. Yeah, I just saved you 2 hours of nothing! And now, that's not it. Oh, we ain't done. They make Watson. Now, you can see many incarnations of Watson where he's not exactly the smartest light bulb in the candelabra. Horrible analogy, but this is what happens when you watch this movie for 2 hours. There's been some issues with him, but I can at least say this. He's not a dundering idiot. He's not horrible. He contributes something, whether it's insightfulness, whether it's being his Sherlock Holmes muscle, whether it's being an assistant, whether it's being an apprentice. There's a lot of layers to this. But there's never that in this movie. They try it, and I use the word try in the loosest sense, like a freaking anthropomorph. I can't even think straight. This is what this movie does to you! But that's not why I'm truly upset. I have seen bad movies. I have seen horrible comedies. I have seen Medea films. And guess what? You know the newest Medea trailer coming out? Medea's Rest in Peace, whatever the hell you call that? Yeah, that movie looks utter garbage, but I cracked a smile. I cracked a smile in that trailer. Compared to this shite! For those of you who don't speak German, you can pretty much feel what you think it is. Because not only is this film bad, and I can get over the badness, not only is it unfunny, because I've seen bad comedies, not only is there no coherency between what the f is happening and what the hell the characters are, we meet this character. Hi, random woman. She's apparently raised by cats, and she has the brain of a 4-year-old. And guess what? Sherlock wants to bang that. Yeah, that's right. Sherlock Holmes, the unemotional man that he is, wants to bang someone with the mentality of a 4-year-old. You have an issue with that? Because I do. Oh, but that's okay. She doesn't have the mental capacity of a 4-year-old because by the end of it, she's actually pretending. It was all like ruse to see if she can manipulate men. You know, because men are so easily manipulated that you can literally just dangle some nice woman in front of you. We'll do whatever you say. Meanwhile, the constituent of that, her handler, or, you know, the actual doctor in question, seems to be running an experiment on zapping people to basically make them smarter. Oh, and it's not just she's hanging her around, that one with the cat-like parents and the mental capacity of a 4-year-old. No. She actually knows this woman and is telling Watson in private, away from Sherlock, so there's no way this is a trick, that her goal is to make her as smart as a 6-year-old through mental shock therapy. What? Why is this funny? Listen, if you're not finding this funny, I'm giving you the abridged version, man. This stuff goes on for minutes. There's a freaking vomiting scene that lasts 3 minutes! 3 minutes of vomiting. Just... I'm good. Okay, the rule of threes is gonna happen, right? Rule of threes? Yeah, rule of threes. Hold on. We'll get there. Yeah, rule of threes means 3 minutes, right? You know, I'm supposed to do this for the course of 3 minutes? No! And now, we get to the cherry on top of this horrible sundae that is an abomination of a movie. Throughout the entire movie, I thought it was going to be a one-off joke. I seriously did, because it's the common thing these days to insult Trump, America, and everything that we stand for. Granted, not all of us stand for the Oompa Loompa in chief, and I'm not being one of them, but you get the idea. It's just make fun of everything because, you know, that's the running gambit. Insult the commander and the Oompa Loompa in chief, do what you will. Just please keep it at least A, original, B, funny, and 3, out of my movies! Before someone says, oh, I'm a Trump supporter, I just love that man, I can love everything he says. No, I don't. However, the man's elected. Guess what? In a few years, we can boot the Oompa Loompa out of the office. Until then, let's stop trying to raise up this issue because it's driving me insane. I don't need to see this in every single movie I've seen. Oh, and it's not just going after him. Far be it from bringing up stuff that has been debunked. Oh, in America, women make 30 cents on the dollar for every man. Been debunked? Yeah. You know, the Equal Pay Act of 79. You know, the thing that kind of makes it so that everyone pays the same rate regardless. You know, the thing that we said in the office 40 years ago? Really? We're going to bring that dead horse up? Oh, how about, since Sherlock doesn't have a hat, he's got to find a hat. So he's going to wear a Make London Great Again hat. I thought it was going to be a one-off joke. That's why I knew things were getting a little bit heated, as it currently is in right now. I thought it was going to be a one-off joke. Woe and behold, I was wrong. Because throughout the rest of it, it's constantly, white men suck. White men suck. America sucks. Oh, we got more guns per capita than humans. Listen, whatever your politics are, if you really have issue with the electoral college system, that is your choice. Do whatever. If you're against it, fine. Try to raise a petition, raise awareness, all that stuff. If you're against gun ownership or unlawful gun ownership, or feels there needs to be some restrictions, that is fine. I actually am in favor of some of those rules myself. Stricter regulations, stricter enforcement of if someone misuses a firearm, or if someone gets theirs stolen, it needs to be reported immediately, or they are liable for the fault. There's a lot of things you can talk about with these scenarios. There's a lot of stuff to be brought up. The judiciary system has issues from time to time, but it's not just a jury of white land-owning males. And one could say, well, Kevin, back then, that's what it was. No, it wasn't. This is set around the time of the Titanic. That means that would be, if I remember correctly, early 1900s, give or take. Pre-World War I, if I remember correctly, or it could be post in the prime. I can't remember. I just remember that it was old, given the, movie in question. But I do know that around that time, African Americans were considered citizens, meaning they were given full rights, including to vote. If you were a male. Sorry, ladies, it didn't happen until around the 1940s. Or 50s, I forget. Either way, there's a lot of issue with that. But seriously, you think, I'm not joking, you'll go along, you'll just sit there literally sweating as bad as I am now because of how hot it is outside, even though it's in December. Yay, Florida. But as I'm sitting there watching this, it gets worse and worse as time goes on. No humor. No plot. Character consistency goes out the freaking window. And if you have an ounce of brain cells, you know who the villain is from the get-go. It hurt me to watch this film, guys. It really did. I just wasted 2 hours of my life for a 12-minute video of me ranting and raving for you all, which I would have done anyway, but, c'est la vie. It is safe to say that this film is an abomination and will rest solely at number 2 on my top 10 worst list. I got one film left for the year. That's Mary Poppins Returns. And I've heard some mixed reviews about it. And in the original Mary Poppins, there was all the women's suffrage act, vote for women, step in time. I remember that line, and it was actually done well. It was good for humor. And you know what? Given the time period set in, having women to get the right to vote was actually apropos and actually very important due to the women's suffrage movement of England. Someone who's actually done some research into the incident, someone who actually done some research into the actual, time period you're trying to set yourself in. Unlike somebody who went to a Spencer's Gift to get freaking costumes. Seriously, Halloween has been If it hasn't been incredibly apparent, don't see this movie. Don't watch this movie. Don't stream this movie. If you find a copy of this disc lying around, here's what you do. Smash it with a hammer! This film... If Darkest Minds didn't have a horrible message attached to it, this movie would be number 1 for the year. And that's saying something. Anyway, guys, I got Mary Poppins coming up. Like I said, this should be going up after Bumblebee and Aquaman and all that stuff, so this should all be up. But, yeah. One more movie of the year, guys. I'm hoping it ends on a high note because the last 3 were amazing. Seriously, go see Spider-Man. Go see Aquaman. Go see Bumblebee. Go see all of those movies before you even get within spitting distance of this film. In fact, if you are walking to go see one of these movies and this has to be playing in the theater next to you, please spit on the door so that you can chase away the evil spirits that they taught you in None. Anyway, guys, as always, this is Kevin Riley signing off, and I'll see you all next time. Later. And this movie, go rot!